Is the screen visible? Is it visible? Can you
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Ma'am, audible, na? Hopefully I am audible. If there is any problem with my sound, please tell me. So up to
Ma'am,
this part,
sometimes you are audible, sometimes you are not.
okay, I'm trying. Actually, what is the problem? I'm facing some audio problem with my laptop. So I was trying to do solve it out through my speaker, but I have one Bluetooth speaker, but it is also not helping me today. Okay, let me try as far as possible. So up to this slide, I have discussed in online class as well as in the college. So after that, I am going to discuss about this. This is the optimum level of tariff. From this discussion, we know that if tariff is imposed, two things are working to opposite direction. The first one is the tariff income is rising, tariff revenue is rising if you rise the tariff rate. On the contrary, because of tariff, your volume of trade is falling. So after a certain time, your volume of trade is falling so large that the tariff revenue will start reducing. Okay, so that means it is not possible for the government to increase tariff revenue by continuously rising tariff rate. There is a limit. After that, the the reduction of volume of trade will be more prominent, right? So that means there must be some optimum level of tariff which will give you maximum tariff revenue. Okay, so optimum level of tariff is giving maximum tariff revenue to the government. So how to find out the optimum tariff rate? How to find out the optimum tariff rate? This is the concern of today's class. Okay, so look at this. This is the first one. We know the offer curve. Okay, we already know about the offer curve, how the offer curve is working, what we are measuring. Can you tell me what we are measuring along the offer curve? Offer curve is the locus of what? Can you give me the idea? Offer curve is the locus of what? Anyone? Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, fine. So can you tell me what is the definition of offer curve? What we are measuring along the offer curve? Anyone from this class? Shaky Katha. This is in the first unit. All of you must know what we are doing along the offer curve. Yes? Just make a try.
Ma'am, offer curve shows the combination of export and import of a nation with change in terms of trade.
Yes, yes. So we are absolutely right. We are measuring amount of export and import along the offer curve. Okay, so this is the offer curve, and there are two offer curves in this diagram, one for the home country, another for the foreign country, that is the rest of the world. Here foreign country means rest of the world. Okay, so here it is two, say there are two countries, one is large country, another is small country, and the commodity, there are two commodities, one is clothing and another is food. Okay, so the offer curve OR is representing the home country, the amount of export and the amount of import along the curve. Now look, in this diagram, in the horizontal axis, there is a particular stretch, OTOC. This is the total amount of clothing produced by the domestic country. Okay. So OTOC, this is the total amount of clothing produced. Now, if you take any point on the offer curve like this, sorry, this is the amount of clothing produced in the world as a whole. Okay. So here, if you take any point on the offer curve like this, so look, this is the amount of export of clothing. As we say, the offer curve is measuring the amount of export and import. So the horizontal intercept is showing you the amount of export of clothing, but the total amount of production is up to OC. So what about the rest? The rest is consumed by the economy. Okay. Now look, this is the OR is the offer curve of the home country, and OR dash or OR star is the offer curve of the world as a whole. So both offer curves are intersecting at this point, that is Q. Okay. Now, so we can say Q is giving us international equilibrium, right? Now from Q, if you drop one terms of trade line, OTQ, so this is the international terms of trade line, the dotted line. Okay, this dotted line is showing the international terms of trade. Fine. Now there is one indifference curve. Look, why not? This is obviously shows social indifference curve. This social indifference curve is tangent with the terms of trade line at the intersection point Q. That means if you want to consume at the international terms of trade at the equilibrium, then you can consume. Why not? Okay, so this is the consumption. As you are measuring, you are measuring consumption from this origin. OC is the origin of consumption. Sorry, yes, OC is the origin of consumption. So with respect to OC, you can draw the indifference curve, right? So that is why OC, the indifference curves are like this. If we are measuring origin as OT, then the indifference curve will be convex to OT. But here we are measuring our consumption point, the origin OC. That is why the indifference curves are convex to OC. Right. So this is the social indifference curve. You can understand, if there is international equilibrium, if the economy is consuming at the international terms of trade, then he can consume. Why not level of output? This is the situation without intervention. Now the government has decided to impose tariff. Okay, now the government has decided to impose the tariff. Now tariff means tax on what? Tariff means tax on which commodity? Can you tell me? Tariff means tax on which commodity? What is the definition of tariff? What do you mean by tariff?
Ma'am, on the importable commodities.
Exactly, tax on importable. That means government is trying to impose tax on importable, which you are measuring on the vertical axis, right? So if due to, obviously, if tariff is imposed, tax on importable will rise. Now what is terms of trade? Price of exportable by price of importable. So now due to tariff, price of importable is rising. That means your denominator is rising. So ratio is falling. And as the ratio is falling, then this line will be steeper than before, right? So this the new line, the new terms of trade line for the domestic economy, that will go through the origin, and It is steeper than before, like this. Okay, this is like this. Fine. Now, if you are having these terms of trade line steeper than before, your offer curve is also shifted towards left. Why? Because you know, if tariff is imposed, volume of trade will fall, right? And as the volume of trade, volume means we have checked it that the trade triangle is reduced than before. So the amount of export, amount of import, both are falling. And as both are falling, so the offer curve that is shifted to the left to OR dash. Okay, and this OR dash is intersecting OR star, because look, there is no change of OR star because rest of the world has not changed its position. It is as before. But the domestic economy, the economy which is represented by OR offer curve, it has imposed the tariff. Okay, so that is why its volume of trade is falling. So the offer curve has shifted towards the, it is, it is shifted towards the vertical axis. Okay, lesser than before. So the new offer curve is OTR dash, and it is intersecting the OR star at A. Okay. So A is the new international equilibrium point, and if you draw the price line from OT through A, you will get the new terms of trade line with tariff. Fine. Now, what is the significance? What is the speciality about A? If you draw one social indifference curve, through A, you can see it is tangent with the OR star, right? At the point A, the social indifference curve represented by Y1 is tangent to OR star. Before that, you can take any, okay, you can say, why ma'am, I can take any social indifference curve. Yes, you can do that. Look, you can draw another social, obviously they are parallel to each other, so you may draw another which is going through B. But look, as a welfare economics, your objective is to maximize the social welfare. Okay, now at the point A, you can maximize social welfare. At the point A, you can have maximum output level. Okay, Y1 is that maximum output level. Before that, your social indifference curves are lower than Y1, right? So this is not your objective. You should not stop here. Y1 is quite low than Y1. Y0 is quite low than Y1. So this is also not your objective to stay here. So you are just imposing tariff, higher and higher tariff. And you are shifting your offer curve from OR towards OR dash. And you are watching what will be the social indifference curve corresponding to each and every intersection point. And you are watching as you are moving towards OR dash, you can shift on higher social indifference curve. So it's good. So you are doing this continuously. At the point OR dash, that is at the intersection point of A, you are watching the social indifference curve is tangent to OR star. Then you are thinking, okay, so I have achieved a lot. If I impose further, if I increase tariff further, then what will be its effect? Let me check. Say the after achieving the intersection point A, after shifting my offer curve to OTR dash, I have increased tariff again. Fine. So my offer curve has shifted again towards left, towards vertical axis, and the terms of trade line has also shifted like this, right? It is steeper. Now look. So that means my offer curve is now like this, right? This is my new offer curve. If I want to draw social indifference curve through this intersection point, it will be like this. Look, it is lower than y1, right? This new indifference curve, the new social indifference curve is lower than y1. So this is not desirable. This is not my objective to reduce the social welfare. I am imposing tariff. I know that volume of trade is falling, but as the terms of trade is rising, so that is creating some positive effect on my economy, and through that I can improve my social welfare. Okay, so I just want to increase my social welfare. I just want to achieve maximum social welfare. For that, I have imposed tariff and I have increased tariff continuously. That is why I have shifted from OR to OR dash. After OR dash, I'm not happy. So I was thinking, okay, if I am imposing tariff more and more and more, I am going towards higher social indifference curve. Then why not more? So after going to R dash of our curve, I have again increased the tariff rate. Then my terms of trade line is steeper, and I have checked the new offer curve is also there. Look, the new offer curve is also there, and there is an intersection point. Now I am checking that, okay, what will be the social welfare at this new intersection point? So for that, I have to draw the social indifference curve, and I have drawn. Now I am checking this social indifference curve is lower than Y1. So that should not be the objective of the welfare economics. So now they stop increasing the tariff rate. Now they can understand that after this point A, if I further increase the tariff, then the volume of trade, the negative effect of reduction of volume of trade will be prominent, and my welfare is going to fall. So how much, what is the question? What will be the optimum tariff, or what will be the ultimate tariff rate which should be charged, or which can be charged by the economy? The tariff rate corresponding to this price line. Okay, the tariff rate corresponding to this price line, that is the maximum tariff the economy can charge given the objective of social welfare maximization. Okay, your question from this diagram? Is there anyone who is listening the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then your doubt? Will I repeat it again?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. So I'm going to the next one. Now the types of tariff. There are basically two types of tariff: specific tariff and ad valorem tariff. Specific tariff means if the tariff is imposed as a fixed per unit of the commodity imported. That means its tariff rate, if Q amount of commodity is imported, then T into Q is the amount of tariff you have to pay. This is called specific tariff. And ad valorem tariff, it is the fraction of the value of importable. So if you are importing commodity X at the price Px, then the total value of importable is Px into X. Now, out of this Px into X, you have to pay a fraction of it as a tariff. So T into, say the T is the tariff rate. So small t into Px into X. That is the amount of tariff you have to pay. Okay. So it is based on the value of importable, and specific tariff, it is the amount of importable. So these two types of tariffs are there in the market. Now look at this diagram. Here we are going to derive the import demand curve and export supply curve. You can understand this. I have taken from your book, Kebs Jones, hopefully. So from there, you are going to derive the import demand curve and export supply curve. In the horizontal, there are four diagrams actually, one set and the second set. So in the first set of diagram, we are going to derive the import demand curve. Okay, so in the first diagram, this is the demand curve, this is the supply curve. PA is the domestic market clearing price. If so, at this price PA, there is no excess demand. As there is no excess demand, so there is no need of import. So for PA, corresponding to PA, import demand is 0, which is represented by point A in the second diagram. For the price P1, okay, for the price P1, look at the amount of excess demand, S1, D1. This is the total amount of excess demand, which cannot be covered up by your domestic economy. So you have to import this amount from the rest of the world. So what will be the amount of import at the price P1? D1 minus S1. So this is represented here in the second diagram, and the point is 1. If the price is increased to P2, then the excess demand is D2S2, okay, or rather D2 minus S2. So this is the amount of excess demand which will be imported. So that is represented in the second diagram by the point 2. So if you join A to 1 like this, you will get a downward sloping curve, which is called import demand curve. So import demand curve is downward sloping. Now look at the second set of diagram. In the second set of diagram, again, the demand supply curve is there, but this is the thing for export supply. So that is why the supply is, look, this diagram is for the foreign market. Okay, this is the foreign market. In the foreign market, demand and supply, these are represented by D star and A star. And the market clearing price is PA star. At PA star, there is no excess supply. As there is no excess supply, so there is no need of export. There is no scope of export rather. Okay. If the price is P1, then look at the amount of excess supply, S1 star, D1 star. So as this is the excess supply, that means this amount of commodity is not demanded in the foreign market, so they can export it. Okay, so the amount of export at the price P1 is S1 star minus D1 star, S1 star minus D1 star. Okay, if the price is increased further to P2, then the amount of excess supply in the foreign market is S2 star minus D2 star. So that is the amount of commodity for which there is no demand in the foreign market. So they can export it. So at the price P2, the amount of export is S2 star minus D2 star. Okay. So if you join those points, you will get an upward rising curve. So this is your export supply curve. Okay. So you can see from this diagram that the import demand curve is downward sloping and the export supply curve is upward rising. Any query from this diagram? If I am not getting answer of my question, I will not discuss further. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Then where is the answer? Do you know what was the question? Very good. So if you go to the world equilibrium, you can see the import demand curve, which was derived as the downward sloping, and the export supply curve, which is derived as the upward rising. We just plot them in the single diagram to get the equilibrium point 1. Now from this equilibrium point, you can find out the world equilibrium price PW and the world equilibrium quantity, that is QW. So this is how, from the derivation of the export demand, export supply and import demand, you can find out world equilibrium with the help of the trade. Now, given this, we are going to find out the effect of tariff. Okay, so there are 3 diagrams in this slide. The first diagram representing the home market, the second diagram is representing the world market, and the third diagram is representing foreign market. Now look at the second diagram first. This is the world market, an import demand and export supply curve, which is actually taken from this thing. Okay, so this diagram is just copied here in the second diagram. Now, in the first diagram is the home market. There is demand and supply for the home market, and in the foreign market, look, for this commodity, the import demand is coming from the domestic market, that is the home market, and the export supply is coming from the foreign market. Okay, so this is a particular commodity. This total diagram is for a particular commodity for which the import is done by the home market and the export is done by the foreign market. Okay, now this is the world market. Demand and supply is there. This is the intersection point 1. Corresponding to this one, you can find out the world price. So this world price is available both in the home market as well as in the foreign market. Okay, now given this PW, look, up to this point, there is no tariff, just a free market condition. Now at PW, as home market is importing, look at the amount of excess demand in the home market at the price PW. This is the amount of excess demand. As this is the amount of excess demand in the world price, so home can import this amount from the foreign. Now go back to the foreign market. At the price PW, there is some excess supply which they can export. As it is equilibrium, when you will draw this diagram, you have to remember this thing. The gap, that is this amount of excess demand, should equal to this amount of excess supply. Then only you will get world market equilibrium. So this is the one thing you have to remember when you will draw this diagram. The amount of excess demand at PW in the home market should equal to the amount of excess supply in the foreign market at the price PW. Otherwise, the world market will not get equilibrium. Anyway, given this situation, this is our starting point. Given this situation, say the tariff is imposed and the home market is a large economy. Now, as tariff is imposed, so in the home market, price of the commodity is rising. And as price is rising, the demand should fall. But as it is the large economy, as import demand is falling by the domestic market, it will definitely affect the world market. So as demand is falling in the world market, there will be excess supply. And as there is excess supply, to clear the market, the price mechanism will reduce the world price. Okay, so the world price is also falling. So PW is not there anymore. Now the PW is reduced than before. So there is a gap between the price which is given by the domestic consumer and the price which is received by the foreign seller. Okay, and this gap is the tariff rate. So you can say, as home market is a large market, large economy, it can shift the burden of tariff or burden of tax on the foreign market. So a part of the tax burden has to be borne by the foreign market, the exporters. Okay, so look at the gap between PT and PT star. PT is the price for the home market after tariff, and PT star is the price for the foreign market after tariff imposed by the home market. Okay, so look, foreign market has done nothing. But as home market is a large economy, foreign market has to face the burden of this tariff. That is why for the foreign market, the price level has fallen because of the reduction in demand. Okay, so the PT minus PT star, this is the tariff rate. Now, given this tariff rate, look at PT, but still one thing must be there. The amount of excess demand in the home market should equal to amount of excess supply at the foreign market. The prices are different, but this amount should be same. So look at this burden, this type of gap between 2 and 3 that we have already discussed, maybe in SEM 1 or SEM 3, I couldn't remember right now. But this type of tax burden shift has already been discussed. So you can see the same thing in this tariff imposition also. Any query from this diagram? Am I audible? Then where is the answer? I asked one question, I need the answer, otherwise I will not continue the class. I want answer of my question. I asked one question from the discussion. Okay, as no question, no answer is coming out, so I just assume, I just conclude that no one was listening the class, as no one is